Hello again, this is Foghorn with another installment of Flight School Academics. Doing another comm discipline block, actually the last comm discipline block. On this, which should be on or about the 23rd of June 2018. This is actually a re-recording because we lost the recording for the first one. This presentation is part of an ongoing series of academics for the members of the Aurora Republic, a premier role-playing organization in Star Citizen. If you are new to the Aurora Republic or visiting for the first time, let me start by saying welcome. We are glad to have you with us, and if you'd like to hear more, if you are interested in hearing more, then I would love to hear from you. We are a lawful good organization focused on role-play exploration and the social interaction, and are currently active in recruiting on Discord and on Spectrum. Tonight we're going to be talking about air-to-surface engagement brevity, and because this is a re-recording, I'm going to skip the flight demo for the new quantum travel mechanic at 3.2, because 3.2 has been released and everybody should have been exposed to that already. Rules of engagement, there are none because this is a recording, because I screwed it up the first time and didn't hit record when I presented it online, and this is not online. Well, not yet. It'll be posted, because you know what I'm saying. Anyway, air-to-surface engagement brevity block is actually fairly short. It's only 4 slides, and then I'll call it done. And then you'll have gone through all the aviation blocks. And as soon as my surface training compadres, looking at you, Dial, looking at you, Jeff, looking at you, Bobcat, get theirs done, then they can catch up. And we will maybe do some more, or at least they can do some more on comm discipline when you're talking about FPS. Anyway, here we go. Faster, funnier. Faster and funnier. All right, the first one is if you hear abort on the radio, that means to cease any action, attack, or event, and come off dry. Abort implies natively that you do not employ weapons. So abort, abort, abort. That's usually a panic call. Action is the call to initiate some sort of a pre-briefed action, such as a maneuver or an attack sequence. Ajax is when you're dealing with some sort of drop ships or cargo cargo haulers that are going to end up picking up either personnel or cargo from a pickup zone. So that landing zone, once it's been checked and clear of threats, whether that's by an airborne asset or whether some sort of a surface asset, then that radio call is Ajax. That the landings, LZ3 is Ajax. Attacking is exactly what the word means, that you're attacking a specific surface target. Captured is when you have sensor contact on a specific surface target with an onboard sensor, not your eyeball. Your eyeball will be here on the next one. That's contact, just the same way you would say if you had a sensor return in on a spaceborne sensor target. If it's a surface target that you've identified and tracked with onboard sensors, then your call to that is captured. If somebody's trying to talk over the radio, is trying to talk your sensor onto the target. Ceasefire, very similar to a port, but ceasefire just simply don't open fire or do not continue firing. But it does mean continue to track, whereas abort means come off of whatever it is you're attacking. Ceasefire just means simply hold fire for the moment while whoever the controlling agency is, like say something as a joint tactical aerospace controller might command, or the other one might be as if you're on some sort of a practice range. Cleared hot, pretty much exactly what the words mean. You are authorized to release ordnance, whether or not that's in combat or on a training range. Come off, very similar to abort. Come off left, come off high, or come off dry would be some examples. Maneuvered or execute any special instructions, such as come off dry, means dry meaning without dropping any ordnance. Wet is the opposite of dry. When you're talking air to surface or aerospace to surface. Contact means I see the surface target, or negative contact, I don't see the surface target. Where when you're talking air to air, you use terms like visual and blind for I see or I do not see my friendly aircraft, and you would use tally ho and no joy for I see or do not see the potential enemy aircraft. When you're talking about surface targets, it's contact and negative contact. Continue would be another call similar to cleared hot. When you were calling you're in, meaning you're starting your attack run on the potential target, if that target area is under the control of some sort of a controlling agency, like a JTAC sort of a situation, or if you're on a controlled air to surface range, then they would, if they're not ready to give you clearance to drop, but they don't want you to stop, they want you to continue, and then they would give you the call, continue, continue this present maneuver. Doesn't mean that you have a clearance to drop or employ, but whenever you hear the word continue, it means you're probably going to get a cleared hot or a continue dry call coming up shortly. So continue is continue what you're doing, but you're still not cleared to drop yet. Continue dry, just like I mentioned in the previous one, you are not authorized to release ordnance. However, it does mean you can kind of continue the flight path of an attack. So you maybe say, hey, two's in, 2, continue dry. 2's in dry, which means you're just basically going to do a camera attack. You're just going to point the nose like you're attacking, but you're not going to actually release any ordnance. Cover, just the way you would expect it in any sort of a surface engagement. Hey, cover me. It means take any action to allow the other person's, your buddy's engagement of a specific track or a target. So in other words, you're covering them while they're doing the attacking. You're covering to make sure that nobody sneaks in and cornholes them, or they get shot from another direction or anything like that. Hits, weapons impacts are observed within lethal distance. Remember, the reason why you have air to surface, why aviation in general came up with these concept called bombs, is because it's very hard to actually hit anything directly, like no kidding have it land on, that's called a bullseye or a shack. When you actually physically hit the target with the bomb, that's actually fairly hard to do, particularly with unguided munitions. So they blow up, which means you don't really have to hit them square. You just got to get the thing close enough for the explosion to kill it. Ergo, hits. Weapons impact within lethal distance. In. That's the call from the attacking aerospace craft when they're commencing their attack on the target. Kill would be a command to destroy the assigned surface target from some sort of a controlling agency, again like a JTAC. Miller time. Miller time is the radio call when the last striker is off target, the attack is complete, and everybody is ready to head home. So if you're the first 4 ship across the target, you're not Miller time until that last 4 ship is across the target and everybody has employed. There's no more reattacks commencing. All the air to surface ordnance has been expended that you're expecting to expend today, and you're heading home. That's when you call Miller time to let all of your flying protection, your fighter caps and that sort of stuff let you know, and your electronic warfare support, all that sort of stuff, tanker support, all the command and control and ISR aircraft, spacecraft, that, hey, we're done, time to go home. Off, wet or dry. Off means post-attack, you're coming off the target. Wet means you successfully employed ordnance on the target. Doesn't necessarily mean you destroyed the target, just means that you were successfully employing your ordnance. Weapons effects may or may not have had the intended desired effect. Off dry means that you did not expend any ordnance. All right, last one, offset. Offset, pretty much just exactly what the name means. Hey, we're not going directly as originally planned. We're going to maneuver a direction off on a reference away from the target. Basically, usually you're going to do that to go around some sort of a threat that's popped up, a surface-to-air threat that's popped up between you and the target on your IP-to-target run. Padlocked means the same thing air-to-surface as it means air-to-air. It means I cannot take my eyes off of the target without risk of losing visual contact with it. So, if you're a wingman, the flight lead's maneuvering you away some way, and you say, hey, 2's padlocked, then that, in other words, that tells the flight lead, okay, dude, you got to make a decision. If we continue going this direction, then I'm going to lose the visual on the target. And at that point, the flight lead decides of like, okay, skip it. We don't need to go hit it. We're going on to something else. Or, okay, as the flight lead, I need to change what I'm doing so that 2 doesn't lose visual of the target that we're attacking. A pop. Pop is a climb for an air-to-surface attack, usually out of the low-altitude flight structure. So if you're rolling in nap of the Earth to get in underneath, say, some sort of sensor coverage, the pop is where you action and come and sort of unmask from the ground and come up to get yourself from the low altitude up to, particularly if it's going to be some sort of a diving air-to-surface attack. That's the pop is where you get up to those entry parameters. Splash is when you visually see an air-to-surface weapons impact that does not imply hits. Splash just means, hey, I saw a splash out to the west, which means you saw an air-to-surface munition go off on the ground. Like I said, does not imply hits, doesn't imply misses either. It's just I saw a splash over to the east. Thunder. Thunder is a 1-minute warning call before air-to-surface weapons are employed. This is a call used in close aerospace support CAS that, hey, we are 1 minute out. Hey, JTAC, that we've been talking to, we are 1 minute away from the bombs going boom. Typically, you're going to use this call when you have what's called a danger close situation where friendly troops and enemy troops are in very, very close proximity. And the controlling agency on the ground, such as a JTAC, is going, yeah, I understand the risks. Here's the commander's initials. He wants those bombs on the enemy, even though they're close enough to hurt us as well. You're going to give them, as the aviator, you're going to give them that thunder call to, like, 1 minute from now, my bombs are going to go boom, so that hopefully your bros down there who are pulling triggers with FPS weapons can count to, say, about 50 seconds, and then they can all dive into a foxhole, and hopefully the blast of your weapons will go over top of them and only kill the bad guys. That's the hope. Last one, up. The radio call up is for when you are starting the pop. Pop is a term, not really. It could be used on the radio. Hey, they're in the pop. But when you actually are starting a pop maneuver, then the call is up. That is it in a very quick nutshell. Thank you again for your attention, and I'm sorry I had to go back and redo this because I forgot to hit the record button, or I hit it and it didn't register. I'm not sure which. Anyway, this wraps up this installment of Academics with Foghorn. Redo! I hope you found it interesting and helpful. If you have any questions I didn't answer, please feel free to contact me via email, Discord, Spectrum, or of course the comment section below for those of you who are watching this on YouTube later. And I will answer it to the best of my ability and as quickly as I can. If you are part of the Aurora Republic membership and you haven't hit the subscribe button for this channel already, please hit it immediately and enable notifications so you can remain up to date whenever we stream or post new content. Do that on the follow button on Twitch as well, if you would, please. If you're a visitor to the channel, please also feel free to hit that subscribe button or the follow button, as your feedback really does help us when we're trying to strive to improve our content. You can find out more information in the doobly-doo below. We'll have all of the links to all of our bespoke website, Spectrum org page, Twitch channel, YouTube, and of course email. I'll see you next time. This is Foghorn signing off, wishing you a pleasant remainder of your morning, afternoon, and or evening. Thank you again.